Hello everyone, I just want to go ahead and create a quick video for you guys so you have a better understanding of the exam logistics and structure for our upcoming exam number 1 coming up very shortly. In order for you to take exam number 1 and all other exams for the semester, they're going to be available online on Canvas, and you can access it under two different tabs, either the quiz tab or the assignments tab. Both will take you to direct access for the exams. As we mentioned at the beginning of the semester and for the past few weeks, in order for you to take any of the exams, you do need to install HonorLock, the plugin. This is the proctoring service that FIU uses, and it's basically just a way for me to ensure that you are the person enrolled in this course and you are the person taking the exam. In order to make sure that you have HonorLock installed properly, there is the IE practice quiz that we've also mentioned a few times through the semester, so the institutional effectiveness economics quizzes. You can go ahead and take this as many times as you want, and as long as you're able to access it, answer the questions, and submit it in its entirety, that means you have HonorLock properly installed and you are good to go for exam number 1 and all future exams as well. Remember that the bare requirements in order for you to take the exams and for you to install HonorLock is that you need a computer or laptop with webcam and microphone access, as well as the Google Chrome browser. This is the only browser that will work. You can't use Firefox, you can't use Edge, Internet Explorer, or Safari. You do need Google Chrome. And also, please be aware that mobile devices and tablets are not compatible with HonorLock. It has to be a computer or laptop. The exam itself is going to be available from 1 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So do be aware of Eastern Standard Time or Miami time. Do be aware of this if you are in a different time zone. It's almost a period of 24 hours, more than enough time for you to access and take the exam. The reason why I don't include midnight here is because Canvas does typically undergo some type of updates every night at midnight, and that can cause a few technical difficulties if you are in the middle of taking an exam, so just excluding that from here. So 1 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The time limit for this exam is going to be 90 minutes, and you are expected to take the exam in one sitting. So once you begin the exam, the timer will start ticking down, and that means you have 90 minutes from that moment on. The exam will automatically submit after an hour and a half, so after these 90 minutes are up, so do be aware of that. And all exams will automatically submit at 11:30 as well. So that means the latest you should begin this exam is going to be 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to take full advantage of these 90 minutes. But start as early as you can because it's going to be Murphy's Law. Typically, bad things happen if you wait until last minute. So do find a nice little time frame where you can find a nice dark hole for you to go ahead and take the exam, and you'll be good to go. If you take the exam, say at 11 p.m., that means you only have 30 minutes and you're not taking full advantage of the 90-minute time limit. So do be aware of that. If you want to take it at 1 a.m., you just want to get it over with. Once the exam is able to be accessed, all the power to you. You can go ahead and do that. That means you have 1 a.m. all the way to 2:30. So this hour and a half or 90-minute time limit coming into play. Along with this, the exam has 40 multiple choice questions, so just a little bit different from the assignments that you've been sort of turning in. These multiple choice questions, so A, B, C, D, or E, you make a choice, choose the correct answer, and you're good to go. Even though these exams are going to be multiple choice, do not assume that the questions are going to be overly easy. Remember that I do create my own questions, and they are designed to make sure that you understand the material and that you have been keeping up with what we have been saying in the lecture videos. Every student is going to be tested on the same sort of concepts, the same material and topics, but everyone's going to get different questions, so also do be aware of that as well. If you want to go ahead and get a better idea of what the questions sort of look like, there are the practice problems that are posted underneath every single chapter as well, and that'll give you a pretty good, decent idea of how the exam is going to be structured, so that multiple choice format. The questions on the exam are similar, but maybe a little bit more involved than the ones that you see on Canvas. And finally, of course, the exam covers 4 chapters, so chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 for this particular exam. The questions are a little bit more devoted toward the later chapters 2, 3, and 4, but there are still a few questions from chapter number 1. So I think maybe 4 or 5 questions come from chapter number 1, but the rest are evenly distributed among chapter 2, 3, and 4. What exactly should you have on you when you want to take this exam? Well, we have it right here. So obviously you should have pens and pencils or some type of writing utensil, and also some type of scratch paper, just so you can go ahead and jot down some type of mathematics or some type of graphs if you want to draw them out. It's very difficult to do things in your head or to do things on the computer. So that is a very good resource for you to have on you when you take exams or any exam in general. You'll also need a calculator. There's not a lot of math on this particular exam, but if you want to go ahead and double check the math that you do, calculator, always a good thing to have. Calculator is going to be a little bit more relevant or a little bit more applicable when we hit the later exams because there's a lot more math involved there. Physical copies of the notes. So if you go ahead and take your own notes while you go ahead and watch these lecture videos that I do, that's also a fantastic resource to have. A lot of the questions that come from the exam do come straight from the lecture videos. So having physical resources, very, very good. And finally, a ruler or straight edge. If you're not the greatest of drawers, then you can use the ruler or straight edge to make sure that your graphs, your demand, your supply curves, or anything that you draw out is nice and neat, and to ensure that you are getting the right points. There is also FIU Canvas support, HonorLock support if you run into any technical difficulties. However, I am not expecting any technical difficulties, but if you do run into any of them, FIU is there for you, HonorLock is there for you. I'm also, you can shoot me an email as well. I'll try to answer it as soon as I can. But I really don't expect any of these sort of issues to pop up. Everything is pretty much self-regulating, so you're good. You should be good to go there. Follow the procedures listed in the syllabus if you happen to run into any technical difficulties, though. What type of resources? Where did the questions sort of come from? Well, obviously, class and lecture videos. This is where the vast majority of exam questions are going to come from. If I mention it in the lecture videos, if we do some type of manipulation with the equations or some type of graphs, you can be sure that there's going to be questions on the exam about it. I will never ask you a question that we have not covered. So if there's something in the textbook, but I don't cover it in my lecture videos, that is not fair game for the exam. The only questions that are fair game are things that I cover in the lecture videos or things that we do in the videos themselves. So I'm not that big of a dick or not that big of a jerk. So you can only expect questions that we cover in the lecture videos to be seen on questions on the exam. Other resources that you should be focusing in on are the lecture slides, so the PowerPoint slides that are also available on Canvas. Practice problems that we've already said, so every single chapter has roughly about 40 to 50 questions, multiple choice questions that you should go ahead and get as much practice as you can. Remember, in economics, the more practice, the more exposure that you get, the better it's going to be for you to answer any type of question that comes your way. And then the online assignments that you guys do. The online assignments, these are the free response questions that you get graded on. And I'm going to say that if you can do the online assignments without taking a look at your notes, you're going to be very, very well prepared for the exam questions. I'm going to say that the homework assignments are a lot more involved than the questions that you're going to see on the exams. And then finally here, you have the notes. So like we said before, if you take physical notes with the videos, when you follow along with the lecture videos, that's a great resource for you to have on you when you take this exam. The textbook, also a pretty good resource. The vast majority of the lecture videos make their sort of structure, come from the structure of the textbook. But as I said before, if you don't want to buy the textbook, there are no exam questions are going to come straight from the textbook and that you're not going to see on the lecture videos. The videos themselves have all of the information that you do need. And finally, of course, if you have any questions, I have office hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just shoot me an email and we can set up an appointment time then and there. Just give me at least 24 to 48 hours buffer time or leeway or lead time just so we can have an appropriate time for us to meet. You're going to notice that the vast majority of materials that you need for you to do well on this exam are on Canvas, also on YouTube. So there are no surprises on any of the exam questions that you're going to see. What type of questions should you expect? Well, you should already know the type of questions that I am going to hone in on. They are going to be application, critical thinking, analytical, and mathematical type of questions, along with economic intuition. And all of these type of questions right here, these are things that are intended to make sure that you do understand the material, that you have a little bit of a deeper sort of that you sort of synthesize the information a little bit better. I do not test memorization all too much. So if you simply just memorize definitions, memorize theories, that type of thing, you will not do very well on the exams. So questions like the things that you see on the homework assignments, application, critical thinking, analytical, math, economic intuition, these are the type of questions that you can expect on the exams themselves. I do throw a few theory, definition, and conceptual type of questions your way, but they're not going to be they're not going to be a lot of them, maybe 2 or 3 every single exam. If I do throw you these type of theory or definition type of questions, they typically come word for word from the lecture videos. So you do want to go ahead, make sure that you get as much practice as you can with these type of things. And then finally here, what should this exam be doing for you guys? Number one, it should be developing your test taking skills. So all in life, it's just a one big giant exam, one big giant test. So you should be getting the analytical, critical thinking, and intuition skills by taking the exam questions right here. It should also motivate some type of time management skills as well. With 90 minutes and 40 questions, that gives you a little bit over 2 minutes per question. And I'm going to go ahead and say that if you have to go ahead and look at your notes for every single question, you are going to run out of time. You do want to make sure that the notes are just there just as a backup, but with time management, if you have to look at every single question, you have to take a look at your notes. I'm going to say that you are going to run out of time. So you do want to manage your time very, very well. A student that knows exactly what steps to follow, the methodology, what equations to use, that type of thing, he or she will never run out of time. So you do want to make sure that, hey, the notes are there for you as a backup, but you don't want to be overly reliant on them. Process of elimination, so that trick works fairly well as well. If you don't know the sort of question, the answer to a particular question, just use your critical thinking skills, use the process of elimination, say, hey, I'm pretty sure that this answer choice is not right, so I can eliminate that and focus in on the other ones. That is something that you should be developing as well. And then it also goes without saying that you should be identifying keywords. Reading comprehension is a vital skill. I can change one word in the question, I can change one word in the answer choices, and that will change the entire meaning of the question or answer. So you do want to go ahead, take the time, make sure that you are answering the correct question, that you have the correct answer, because these are the type of things that you should be sort of focusing in on. So with all of this is exactly what you should be expecting for exam number 1, and also by extension, exam number 2, 3, and 4. So if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, and good luck on exam number 1 and for future exams as well. I'll see you guys soon.